So yesterday, Natalie shared her story about having her 11 children by the time she was 25 and losing 2 of them to the system. Today, she's going to share her story about her addiction with crack cocaine and what that did to not only herself but to her family, and the moment that she decided it was time to get clean. Here's part 2 of Natalie's story. When you started getting introduced to crack cocaine, can you explain to people that don't know much about crack cocaine, what that feels like, and what made it so addicting?
First of all, what made it so addictive is crack cocaine is a very powerful addictive drug. Crack cocaine is a mental high, and basically it's mind over matter.
Were you working while you were doing drugs?
I was working, I was stealing, I was a hustler,
And what is it, you said it's a mental high, does it make you feel no pain? I mean, did it cover up something that you were missing internally? Were you sad a lot? Do you think you had depression? Were you overwhelmed with all those kids?
I don't think and honestly, in my situation, no. It had nothing to do with my children. It had nothing to do with being overwhelmed, nothing. All my addiction had to do was an internal hurt and just not addressing my issues. I'm an emotional creature, and I have that need to be loved, that need to be the center of attention, important, So during my addiction, that's what I was, because I kept crack cocaine plentiful, and I had friends.
Friends you were doing drugs with?
Yes.
Yes.
The environment.
What, did you carry any guilt during your addiction? Did you get to a point where you were like, I have to quit,
Yes.
but I can't? And can you talk me through a little bit of that?
It was a point in my addiction I felt like I saw my children hurting. It was actually in 2004, and I had came home from another prison stint, and I noticed that my 2 sons were involved in gangs. So in the process, I reached out, and I tried to be more acclimated in my life, in their lives, yet and still my addiction took over that, okay? Throughout my addiction, I wanted to be that mother they could always come to. Throughout my addiction, my children, they knew how much I loved them. They just wanted me there more, so.
Did your kids ever beg you to stop doing drugs? Did they ever say, Mom, please? They had to have known.
No, they didn't. They never begged me to stop. And the reason why I tried to keep it away from my children. I never got high in the house with my children. I never came home high around my children. I tried to be as clean and in the closet with the addiction. It still affected my relationship with my children.
Because like you said, you weren't as present as you wanted to be because you were chasing the high.
Exactly.
You said your mom was there to help a lot, and you had a friend you've known since you were 17.
Yes.
That is still your friend today.
Yes.
That was a huge support system for you.
Mm-hmm.
I assume your mom took a lot of the responsibility for your kids when you were serving time.
She did.
She did.
My mother had my children.
And then, did you get sober in prison? Did you start to get sober?
Mm-hmm. I went back to prison in 2009.
The third time?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was tired, and I noticed that everybody, well, not everybody, but the majority of the population were these young children. And older women in prison like myself, we doing extended prison terms for recidivism reasons, yet you had these young kids that's sitting there here with 30 years, 20 years, 25. Like, what did you do, And it all came to me. This is your purpose, to stop this. These young kids going to jail and prison for these hideous crimes or senseless crimes, and my purpose is to help stop some of it. So that's when I decided I can't do this anymore. I'm sitting in prison. I got 2 sons in prison. I have to lead by example. And I came home determined this time, this is what I'm finna do.